Here we have another quadratic inequality. Like before, we want to get our equation in a place where we could solve it, which means we're going to want to make one side equal to 0. Probably makes the most sense to add 8x to both sides. And you get 0 is less than or equal to negative 3 x squared minus 1 plus 8x. Now, currently, the format of this one isn't like our normal quadratic equations. Our normal quadratic equations, when they're in their general form, look like this. So I'm going to multiply this negative 3 through. So to distribute that negative 3 to both of those, so that I have negative 3x squared plus 3 plus 8x. And then I have a decision that I need to make. Either I can keep it on this side, and I'm just going to write the 8x in the middle instead. I can either keep it on that side and solve it that way, or I could move everything over to the left. So if I took this and I added 3x squared and subtracted 8x and subtracted 3, I would get 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0. If I subtract everything to the other side, do I have to flip the inequality? Or what was the special rule for inequalities? When do you flip the inequality sign? When you multiply or divide by a negative number. So subtracting on both sides keeps the inequality the same there. So you have to choose which you prefer to work with. Do you prefer to work with this, with the 0 on the left side, and solving it with the negative? Or do you prefer to work with the 0 on the right side and having a positive x squared? I find most people for factoring like it when the number in front here is positive. So I find most people like this side for factoring better than this side for factoring. But we'll do them both. If you were factoring either one of these, in order to get 3x squared, you would have to have 3x and x. Of course, if you need a negative 3x squared, one of them would have to be negative. So I'm just going to make negative 3x and x. Doesn't matter which one you make negative, but one of them has to be negative. Then in order to get 8 and to have your last number multiply to give you 3, can you see the last number need to get 3 would have to be 1 and 3? And you have to decide, is it going to be 1 and 3 or 3 and 1? And if I do 1 and 3, can you see my outside is 9 and my inside is 1? And 9 and 1 do make 8. So here, the second one would have to be minus, so I get negative 9 plus 1 to get negative 8. In this one, it has to be negative 8. Here, I need to get 3. This one would be 3 and 1. This outside is negative 9. I mean, this is 9, but I need it to become positive 9 and negative 1. No matter which one you do, you get the same critical values. Here, x would equal 3 and x would equal negative 1/3. Here, x would equal 3 and x would equal negative 1/3. It's a little bit harder to see, though, I think, on the one on the left. On our number line, no matter which one we pick, once we label 3 and negative 1/3, we look at our original equation and it has an equal sign. So these would be colored in. Something quite enjoyable, we'll color in them in. So there are our 2 points. Now, depending on which one you used, if we used the one on the right, then our parabola is going up. So we imagine a parabola going up through those points. And we're looking for where is it less than or equal to 0. That would be true here, false here, and false here. Okay? If we use the second one, it's a negative 3x squared. It's a parabola that's going down, but if we read this, this part has to be greater than or equal to 0. You can read inequalities left to right or right to left. So this says 0 is less than or equal to this in the green box. But if I read it backwards, this thing in the green box is greater than or equal to 0. So you can read things left to right or right to left. Now, if I had a parabola going down, it would look like that. And if I was looking for where is it bigger than or equal to 0, I would get the same true section and the same false sections. So again, it doesn't matter which way that you look at it. I do find, though, that having it this way students find easier because they're used to reading from left to right. But there are some cultures that are more used to reading things from right to left. So then maybe the thing on the left side would be easier. So now that we've got our number line there, and we know that our solution is here, between those two values, we could write our solution. X is between negative 1/3 and 3. Or in interval notation, you'd use square brackets because those values are included. And there's our solution. Of course, you would only have to write one of those ones. You wouldn't have to write both. And the questions you can do, sponsored by Slurpee. And we have one more example.